Hi, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my workshop. Today I'm going to do a really fun card for you, and I've used a couple of things, one that I haven't used in ages and one that I have had for a while and have never used. So I like to pull all those things together. But before I get going on the card, there's a couple of things that I wanted to remind you of. One is my Berry Blessings class. This is a $35 online stamp class, but you do get the stamps, and you get, this is a poor selection of the paper, but you do get a nice little stack of this Berry Blessings paper, as well as the supplies to make 3 cards. So I only have, I think, maybe 3 spots left that you actually get the supplies. There are other options of the class available, but for $35, and that includes your postage, you get all of this, including the stamp set. But like I said, there's only a couple of those left, because once I'm out of stamp sets, then that option of the class is gone. So I wanted to remind you of that. Then my Hey Chicks class, the registration for that ends on Wednesday of this week. So this was my latest video to post. These little guys just make you happy. They're just a fun little stamp set to stamp with. I have kit versions of the class, videos only, and then some card versions. So you can go to my class page and check out that, but that does end on Wednesday. And then signups just started for the Butterfly Brilliance class, which is what I'm working on today. So other than the card that we're working on now, I do have these that I've posted that kind of show you. This one especially, I go over everything that's in the kit, or the bundle that will be available for purchase for customers starting March 1st. Now, if you can't wait till March 1st and you want to sign up to be part of my team, then you get all of my classes, always the online part, for free. And you could put the Butterfly Brilliance kit in your starter kit and get a bunch of goodies for free as well. But I know one of the things with this is a lot of you feel that you already have a lot of butterflies, but the paper part of this kit that will be available starting March 1st, the paper's fabulous. So one of the things that we're going to be doing, my team, in March, I think it's March, I should have looked at the dates. It's like the 12th, the 14th, whatever that weekend is, that Friday, Saturday, it'll be on my website. If you are a customer, it's a customer event. So if you're one of my customers, then we're going to be having a Facebook event, and there are several of us that do lives, Facebook lives, and do videos and things for our customers. So we're all going to come together. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to really focus on the paper, because the paper, there's 2 kinds of paper in the kit. One is this fabulous little 6x6 stack here. I can pick it all up. And then there is a wood grain paper, and it's 12 by 12. So these 2 parts of the kit will only ever be available in March. And once they're gone, they're gone. So they're a while supplies last little thing. It's really pretty paper. And the card that I'm doing today uses this paper. And then the wood grain paper, of course, could go with anything in the catalog. So as part of that Facebook event, one of the things that we're going to focus on is using the 2 papers with other butterflies, or anything else in the catalog, in the current catalog. So for my project today, I'm not going to use any of this. Now, I do want to point out that there are some portions of the paper, obviously, like the dies that come in the bundle. We'll cut this out. Isn't that wonderful? So maybe there's definitely reasons this cuts this stamp set out. So, I mean, there are reasons to have this, but if you feel like you already own a lot of butterflies, which I know, we offer a lot of butterflies, then you may just want to do the paper. So I do, if you can take my class, my online class, and just get the 2 papers, that is an option. And then you can substitute out your butterflies. Now, there will be sometimes when I use the dies, and we do have some similar-ish dies in the catalog that you may already own. Sometimes you'll have to be a little creative to make them work. And sometimes, not. Like this one, you could use any of the dies, any butterfly that you have. This one doesn't even have a die. But my basis for this card was this beautiful paper. Isn't this so pretty? The rainbow effect. It has so many of our colors. You could really make this project not even be a card. It would be a great graduation, a great moving, a birthday. I've done 2 different words on it. So the basis of it, and again, you could take any color. I just went with this because it was already cut and laying on my table. So to get it on the card, you have to make it fit. Now, if you're going to do a framed art, you could go 6 by 6 and have it in all its glory, which I would like that because I'm going to have to lose some of it. So I'm going to show you when I have a 6 by 6 piece of paper here, how I end up cutting it down so I can get the most. Now we know I want my butterflies, it's going to fold this way. I get so many questions because I am not a math person. I can do math and I was good at math. I just don't like it. And it robs my joy when I stamp. So I often don't tell you measurements. Now, if you do my online classes and you do the video version, depending on the class, then like my Try It classes always get the measurements. And my retreats always get the measurements. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, I don't use fancy measurements because I don't like them. So we know that it needs to be 4 inches this way. Or you can do a smidge over. So here's 4 inches. And I love the paper more than I love the background. So I'm going to 4 1/4 would make it fit the whole thing. So I'm going to do just a little bit more than 4. Somebody just asked me the other day and I'm like, yeah, it was just a little bit more than 4. And it didn't have a measurement because I'd rather see a little bit more of this and a little bit less than my paper. Now for this direction, and see, it gives you a nice little strip here that you can keep. So for this one, you can see we've already lost a lot of this blue and a lot of the green. So now for this, if you hack off one way, you could lose, if I go this way, I'm gonna lose all the blue. So I'm gonna go this direction. And then it's 5 1/2. Which is down here on mine. And here's another tip for you. On mine, I have marked 4 1/4 and 5 1/2 because that's, if you're in the imperial markets where we still use imperial measurements, that is our basic, most of the time you're going to use card sizes. So 4 1/4 would be the one and 5 1/2 would be the other. So it's just helpful for me to have that. And I did it with a blend. So then it just stays there. So that's 5 1/2 right there, and then just a smidge off so I can still see a little bit of my card. And so now I have done it. So I just see a tad bit of the Rococo Rose background, but then I get the most of my butterflies. And that's why when you ask me if you will comment on my video and you say, what are the measurements? I don't know. I just put them in there because I don't measure first. I just make it look pretty. And then if my husband helps me cut paper for classes, he gets kind of irritated because he's like, you should have measured that and you should have gotten the most use of your cardstock. And I'm like, that's not how I create. So then what I wanted to do was I wanted to make words that would kind of go along here. So I pulled out, like I said, I've never used this bundle, the Pattern Play bundle. And so for the first card that I made, I didn't use any of the stamps. For this one, I'm going to use the Q that. And it, like I said, it could be a moving card, a graduation card. I really wanted to say be the, but we're going to go with Q the because I didn't want to pull one more stamp set in it. But if you want it to say be the change, you could do be the change. I'm going to do Q the change because I thought that would be a really cute graduation card. And we're coming up on that season. And then the dies for this are super fun. I have used them. My daughter has them. But I had bought them and never used them. So normally when I get these, I throw this little piece out because I hate this sticky and I hate that it then sticks oftentimes back to this piece and then it ruins that piece. But you can see here, it has the little outlines. So once I'm done with my letters, I will be able to stick them back on here and always know that I have them all and I haven't lost them. Because when you have a lot of little ones like this, it would be really easy to lose one. So I wanted to point that out, especially for those of you, I know a lot of you keep them inside your stamp cases on a piece of magnet. So you might not want to for this one because it's super convenient to know that you have them all. And they've all just overlapped the sticky just enough that they stick right back on there. So then I've just laid them on my cutter here. I just took and I laid the words right here, the letters, to kind of match up where they would hit different, they're not going to lay right on those, but just so it kind of went with the right color gradient. So I still have the E here, and I just took, I know some of you are dying because this isn't a scrap. Some of these were scraps, some of them were not. because my daughter comes over and I give her all my giant scraps, because scraps are another thing that steal my joy. Because if you do this all the time, and especially right now while I'm not hosting in-person events and I'm always just stamping myself, well, yeah, I have small camps every month, but not like I was in the past. So I just end up with tons of cut up paper and I can't stand it, and she likes it, so I give it to her. So I didn't have a lot of scraps of these, but I have just made them there. And then this is our full sheet of adhesive dimensional backing, and it just comes like this. It's in full sheets. So then you just take this, and I just laid it on, and again, cut the same. I should have done this before I started filming for all of them too, but I'll do it and then fast forward. So you just cut this. Now we've done it a couple of times. I've done it with her, and we've made a couple of things where we've just gone ahead and done like a big, not a big sheet, but a strip of So Saffron, and then put that back on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut all these, and then I'll fast forward that bit of the video. So the foam can be a little bit smaller than your cardstock. So now we have these. This is why this card would also be just really pretty as a home decor piece. Especially like if somebody's graduating and you want to just give them something that they could take with them, or if they're moving. My other ones have, could be a birthday card or a thank you. So now you're just going to lay these all on here. Just make sure they kind of stay in the centers of their block, but I like to give myself a little bit extra room, because it'd be worse to have to do a whole other one again than to lose a little fraction of cardstock on all of them. Now the other thing is you can do them all super straight and cut them with your paper trimmer, and then you have the reverse image that you can go back and use later too. And I thought about doing that, but I've got so many things that I'm working on right now that I realized I wasn't going to do that. And then they would just lay on my table forever, and then I would feel guilty, and eventually I would throw them out. So I just went with cut them crooked and not have to feel guilty about it. Just takes one pass through. This card ends up being really rather quick. I've just talked a lot about everything else. I'm going to leave them on here until I'm ready to put them on the card. I have a new plate, so they kind of stuck themselves to it. I'll just leave this part here. And then I told you I was going to use a different butterfly set. This is Butterfly Wishes. So it has another butterfly. It looks like it could go with this butterfly paper, because like I said, current catalog, it's been around for a couple of years, I think. It's one of my more popular videos. I used this set back when this kind of stamp style was brand new. So I know, that's how I know it's been around a minute. Okay, so I have Rococo Rose and Just Jade. And I'm going to try to go for this where they've got like a Rococo Rose and Jade-ish look on the butterfly. So stamp about half of her in the rose. You want to start with your lightest color first. And then get your jade. After I used this stamp set, I was like, oh, I would like to stamp with this. I forgot how much fun it was. I think I got everything. This is shimmery white cardstock. So now we have this stamped. It will dry a little bit lighter than that. And then I have the Cue the Confetti, and I have a peacock marker because we've lost a lot of the peacock, but I'm able to pull it in with my, just this little bit. So I'm just gonna use my Stampin' Right just so I can get just the cue the. Like I said, you could do be the. There's, think of all the butterfly words that go along with change and flying and metamorphosis, all the kinds of things that you can put on a butterfly card. So you can go through all of the sayings and sentiments that you have in all of your different stamp sets and kind of pull those out. So now we have cue the. Neither of these have dies. So for this, we're gonna go old school. Just trim this straight out. And then I'm going to cut this out and I'll fast forward this bit. Okay, so there she is. Now let's just put our card together. I wanted the words to really be the words in the background. So there's not another layer because obviously we cut this so we'd get the most of it. Look how pretty the back of this paper is. It's pretty. It's not the front pretty. Sometimes I'm really torn. This is not one where I'm super torn. Oh. So remember when you cut these so they're just gonna fit, that you have to start just with them fitting. So let's do our words first, because we're gonna base everything else where we put it. Now remember, this has sticky on it, so all you have to do is pull that off. And it's just one giant dimensional. So I'm gonna kind of start it over here. And then wherever it ends up is where I'll do the rest of it. And I kind of laid it out before I did it to make sure that the word would fit. But see, once they come off, it's super fast to put them on. And I try not to push down on them too hard in case I have to move them. Or in case any of them are crooked, especially when I'm filming because my head's not over the top. Come on. The center of the A stuck on my finger. The nice thing is if these are a tad bit crooked because of the way I'm sitting, it's not as hard to notice with all the butterflies all over the place. Oh, that little A thing still stuck to me. There we go. But you can see how nicely these just pop right out, all ready to stick on. There's also an exclamation point, which I was going to use, but then I thought, while I was filming, I didn't want to fight with the little bottom of it. You can also use these letters with the adhesive, and they don't have to pop up. I just really like the pop-up part of it. Makes a nice substantial little card, and it would make fabulous framed piece. You could do somebody's name, happy birthday, and a name. It would be a great birth announcement, wouldn't it, with a new baby's name on it. Not just with this paper, but with any paper. My G's a little bit crooked. But because I didn't press down yet, I can move it. You probably, I don't know if you can see my cat. You won't be able to see her when I edit it. She's also sitting right in front of me, and right here. Makes it a little bit difficult. I'm running out of space already, and then there she is. So now we have change from those caterpillars to butterflies. So now I'm going to take some ribbons, because I'm going to like build a little bouquet here. So let's put some adhesive here. I'm going to put a generous amount. And then I'm going to use our tool, which I haven't been using. And I used to use rolls and rolls and rolls of it, and I haven't been. So I'm going to try to use a whole bunch right now so it doesn't retire. So just pull a little bit. And don't try to do a ribbon. Just try to do some loops. Or a bow, I mean. And then we're going to go back in if we have to and add some glue dots later to kind of make it sit where we want it to sit. So you can see I've just done 3 little loops. And then this is our Blushing Bride glittery ribbon. And with it, I'm going to need glue dots. So now let's move this over here between the cat and all the stamp sets and all the cards I showed you. So let's get my glue dots. Let's see where they start. Pull that off. And look cat's like, oh, that looks like that could be fun. So put a glue dot on the end. And the first thing you want to do is kind of make that loop. And then we're going to do a second one. So get a second one and kind of put it there. And that way you can have this. That way it's kind of laying flat in here. And then if we have enough adhesive that's sticking anywhere, it's still sticking pretty good there. And then this is where you can kind of just make it lay where you want it to lay with another glue dot. So I don't want that raised up in the air like that. So now I'm going to take my butterfly, and you can add dimensionals to her, or you can just, I think I'm just going to make her be flat so the words are more raised up than she is. And you can see she's faded with drying, so she's not as bold as she was before. And then I'm going to add the rest of my words. Now I still have this little bit here that I want to cover up, so I'm just going to take a tiny bit more of this and kind of just make a little grouping of that. So you're just kind of building a little boutonniere thing. You just want to make sure that you get enough glue dots on it that it'll hold it where you want it. And this one's different than my other one because it kind of just goes, the ribbon's going to kind of dictate where it goes. That, though, doesn't really need any more. I'm just going to put these down so they don't look like ears. And if you can't tie a bow, then just do this. Just make it, just build your bow fake. And the glue dots will do wonders. See, now that can be pulled over here, and there goes my cat getting even closer to my project. So I'm going to put a glue dot here, and I'm going to take that whole thing and pull it over there. And now we no longer have ears. Now on my other card, I just took opals because they were laying on the table, because, you know, that's what I do. But now that I've got my glue dots out, I keep all of my spares as they start to run out in here. So there's probably some opals, but I knew that also all of these fun little sequins from the Artistry Blooms sequins would be pretty on here. So let's see what colors I have in my little pack of almost gone things. And I have them like this from classes, but anytime that you're city. So there's a yellow one. See what other colors we have. Here's a blue one. So I'm just kind of gonna add them where the colors are on here. Here's a pink one. And this card has enough going on that usually my rule of 3 for embellishments, there's so much going on that we can add a little bit more if we want to. I think that's all the colors of those that I have, but I still have, these are the opals that I put on the other one because they were laying on my table the first time. And you can color these, so I could color them in the colors if I wanted with a blend. I don't remember if these come in green or not, but I'm going to take one of these and just kind of add it there to kind of secure that whole little bow. I'm going to also put one of these maybe here. I could go crazy. And you know, when you have, as you start to use up your stuff, especially like I have a bunch of our little charms and things in the bottom, it's just a nice way to keep them all. And then you just use them because they're not one thing that's getting lost in a giant container. So there's my cue to change. Is that not beautiful? Wouldn't that make a fabulous graduation card? Because sometimes they're like, happy graduation and a cap. It is what it is, especially if it's more like a master's program or, you know, something that's, or, you know, if somebody's, you know, gotten a great scholarship and they're going to be moving away. Here's the one that says you are special. But there's all kinds of words. She needs a couple more glue dots. So there you go. But I want you to take a look at the Butterfly Brilliance class. And if you think I already have too many butterfly stamps, then look at it as getting the paper part of the class, because you'll still get to lots of fun ideas in the class, and it's most certainly in our Facebook event, because we'll show you. I know you may already have lots of butterflies, but the paper only available in March, and that wood paper is something really special. So I know my paper pumpkin comes today, and celebration ends this week. It's like, and my daughter's on vacation, and I have camp. I didn't even want to, it's Monday morning. I didn't want to get out of bed when I start, you do that mental checklist of all the things you have to do this week. And a lot of it's fun, but it's just like there is a convergence of a lot of things this week. And I'm like, can it be Saturday yet? I'll be dumb. So everybody have a great day, and I will be seeing you a lot. So remember, if you want that Berry Blessings class with the stamps, you better hop on it, because those will be gone soon. Everybody have a great one. Bye.